Prepare for vengeance. Arm up for the night. And get ready to welcome Bat March. Salutations, my fiendish film fanatics. I'm Silver Screen Slasher, and welcome back to Bat March. And here with me today is my good friend, the Film Reject.
Hello everyone, I'm the Film Reject, and I reject films that aren't worth mentioning.
Today we are reviewing Batman Forever, released in 1995 and directed by Joel Schumacher, who actually recently passed away in 2020.
Yep. The one quick thing before we go into the film, there's actually a bit of backstory behind the development of this film.
Indeed.
After the unfortunate bashing, I guess you could say, or disappointment of Batman Returns, received from, of course, angry parents and just fans and critics in general.
Warner Brothers dropped any plans for there to be for Tim Burton to have a Batman 3, and just put him in a producing role.
Yep.
Replacing him in the director's chair was Joel Schumacher, who had been known for a few interesting movies, particularly 1987's The Lost Boys.
Yep, and also did an adaptation of Phantom of the Opera.
But that wouldn't happen for another 10 years. Yes, and let's keep in mind that Joel Schumacher had a very unique style when it came to directing.
Yeah.
And he really liked to focus a lot on doing slow-mo shots whenever necessary, or whenever unnecessary.
Anyway, Silver, do you want to explain the plot?
Of course. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Batman Forever and see why different and creative choices aren't always forever. So the movie, oddly enough, the movie actually opens up not with a Danny Elfman score, but with a composition done by Elliot Goldenthal instead, because once Burton was down in the director's chair, they took Danny Elfman. He took Elfman with him, and here we're introduced into our new Batman, played this time by Val Kilmer and not Michael Keaton. And personally, I don't mind Val Kilmer. I just consider him to be the bland Batman.
Yeah. To me as well, I'm quite the same, honestly. When I look at him, they don't really make him that interesting at all. To me, he's just, as Batman, I'm sorry to say this, Val, but you're just, in this film, you as Batman, he's just very random.
I mean, I call him Blank Man, but there's already a movie with that name.
Yep. Now, next, I guess you should get to Dr. Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Dr. Chase Meridian, in one of Nicole Kidman's starring roles. And keep in mind, this role for her came out 1 year after her starring role in The Mask, which is one of my favorite comedies.
Yep. Speaking of as well, Nicole Kidman's performance in this, don't get me wrong, she's a great actress and everything, but her as Chase Meridian, wow, her character in this film just makes no sense. I mean, everything she does is just so weird. I tell you, I almost don't even have any words for her except just weird.
Yeah, I mean,
just weird.
Yeah, I mean, from the first moment she sees Batman and swooping down, she immediately gets infatuated with him. I mean, seriously.
Just to give you an idea, she even loves Batman so much that she sends on the bat signal, even there's no emergency, and she comes up to him and says, "Do I need skin type vinyls or a whip or whatever?"
Skin type vinyl and a whip. I mean,
whip.
Jesus. What's your PhD in, lady? Being a creep?
Yeah, and besides, this is sexual harassment, and he doesn't have to take it.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, yeah. Honestly, it is back sexual harassment, and even I don't like it. I mean, hell, I can at least put up with Vicky Vale and Catwoman, but this,
no, please, gosh, no. Anyway, next we get to Tommy Lee Jones as Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face.
Oh yes. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Oh
And
boy.
yes, unfortunately, people, no, there wasn't no Billy D. Williams after all.
Yeah, this is one of the things that. This is one of the problems I have to point out when it comes to this movie, to the timeline in between, and there's Batman Returns, and Batman Forever. Yeah. Honestly, I would have liked it if Harvey Dent actually showed up in Batman Returns because after the first movie, he just fucking appeared, and we never saw him until this movie, and
Yep.
now he's replaced by a different actor.
Not only that, this is literally all Tommy Lee Jones as Two Face does in the entire movie.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
just all he does for the entire film is just mug at the camera, mug, mug, mug.
yeah, uh, I mean, honestly, it's like he's going halfway between in in a laugh and trying to be a burping monkey.
Yep. Not only that, his performance in this is just, gosh, it's so silly.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we wouldn't actually get Billy D. Williams as Two-Face for another 22 years. Is when the Lego Batman movie came out. I
Yeah.
mean, in, I don't mind waiting that long, but uh, come on, come on, come on. You could have at least had Harvey get caught in an explosion or at least scarred with acid in the last movie. Then
Yep.
Williams would have been able to come back.
Oh,
Jeez.
and not only that, but it's just, I'm sorry, but yeah, Tommy Lee Jones in this as Two Face wasn't the right choice.
You know,
Next, oh wait,
yeah.
yep,
Honestly, we're first meeting in Two Face is when he's robbing in the Second National Bank of Gotham. Hell, he even managed to get he hell. Let's mention he already killed two guards and is holding a third one hostage, who he has tied up in a bank, sorry, in a vault.
yeah,
And eventually after Batman manages to kick all Two Face's goons' butts, as he gets to the captured guard, but to quote Akbar, and yes, even the guard put it this way, it's a trap.
yep. Oh, and also, last but not least, actually no, sir, my bad. Next we get to Chris O'Donnell as the Boy Wonder himself, Robin.
Whoa, not so fast. I think you forgot the question. I think you forgot about the question mark in the room. After Batman manages to get the guard to safety and fails to capture Two Face in a helicopter chase, we are then introduced to Edward Nygma, later known as the Riddler, played in this movie by Jim Carrey.
His performance in this is, well, over the top and goofy, but I'm guessing, but you guys are probably thinking to yourself, well, this is no surprise. I mean, nearly every role and every character that Jim Carrey's ever played has always been, well, very goofy and over the top, but in this film, I think maybe he's a little too over the top.
Yeah, I get the feeling. I mean, honestly, it's still like it's kind of like Jim Carrey still had a bit of mask residue left on him when he was in playing this role.
Yep. Not only that, he was just like he he just does some of the weirdest. He just makes some of the weirdest looking faces and some of the and does one of the and some of the most silliest things ever.
Yeah. Plus, offset. Jim Carrey said he couldn't sanction Tommy Lee Jones's buffoonery.
Yep.
I
Not
mean,
only that.
seriously, wow.
Yep. Not only that. He had he wants to. He makes this device called the box, even when it's a cone.
Yeah, seriously, it's two fucking cones put together with triangles on the side. God.
I know, but yeah, he wants to. I believe sell his invention all over Gotham and possibly all over the world so he
Why
can
couldn't?
have everyone's brainwaves or some shit like that.
Why didn't you? Why didn't you just call it the 3D brain?
Yeah. He could almost actually make Spy Kids 3D with that.
Uh, don't give Rodriguez any ideas.
Oh
Also,
shit. Oh,
yeah,
damn.
also 3D poke.
Ow. Oh, gosh. Ow.
Knucklehead. Eventually, after a few scenes where Bruce rejects the prototype of the box, and kills his own boss. Where then it's then we're introduced. It's then that Bruce Wayne it's then and Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne finally meets up with Dr. Meridian and invites her to the circus. And it's there we're introduced to the Flying Graysons, including Chris O'Donnell as a 25-year-old Dick Grayson.
Yeah, but in this film they make it out like he's, I don't know, 15 or something. Yeah, I'm a teenager, guys. Look at me, I'm a kid. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
still like 15 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a few problems with this. For starters, if we're gonna have introduce Robin in this movie, couldn't we at least get a younger actor? Couldn't we at least get a teenager? Couldn't we at least get a teenager or a child actor to play Dick Grayson in this role?
Because I believe at the time Chris O'Donnell was at least like maybe in his 20s or 30s by then.
Yeah, he was in his 20s at the time.
And anyway, getting a 20-year-old man to play, well, a teenage boy pretty much, is literally not the right way to cast, well, Robin the Boy
Yeah,
Wonder.
honestly, it's weird, but
Yeah.
but eventually it does lead to one of the more tragic, and to one of the more surprisingly tragic scenes in the movie. After Two-Face hijacks the circus, gives it there's a bomb on Rick to blow, the Flying Grayson, Dick and his parents actually try and disarm the bomb, but while Dick gets up to the rooftop to get rid of the bomb, Two-Face unfortunately guns down his entire family, his mother, his father, and his brother in cold blood.
Yeah. Oh, not only that, the part where they're getting rid of the bomb, well, some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Keep in mind, uh, keep in mind, Spike Green is the same joke back in Batman Returns.
I know. I just thought it'd be nice to edit in again.
Well, some days you just can't get rid of a running joke. Eventually, yeah, and after after Grayson gets after Dick gets rid of the bomb, he then finds out that his family is dead. Bruce decides to adopt him and bring him into his own family. But of course, Batman Bruce has to leave his to go fight crime as Batman, which means Alfred has to tend to Bruce's dick. I know what I said.
I know. Speaking of, in case you don't mind, a little bit, maybe actually just a little before we mention the ending, I just want to quickly mention some of the silly moments in this film, because this film sure has quite a few highlights of silly moments. First off, the one I would like to talk about is, well, literally at the very first few minutes of the film, pretty much in the opening, Alfred says, "Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?"
And then Batman says, "I'll get drive-through." I'm aware
And
of this,
it was done for a McDonald's ad, but for a McDonald's ad, it would make sense. But for a movie, it really just does not work.
I think I know the reason why that line was in the movie. It was an obvious. It was an obvious take on the fact that the Happy Meal toys for Batman Returns were recalled. That's the main reason why that line's in the movie.
Anyway, that scene would only work if it was literally just done like this a few minutes later. Okay, I would like
Two cheeseburgers,
a
a large,
large
and I
cheeseburger,
got a
some
movie coming out.
large
Just
fries,
give me whatever plastic schlock with my face you got on it. Bingo.
and also a large Coke. Thank you.
Yeah. No. Oh, let's not forget. Mention one of the scene. The scene where we first see Riddler's costume, and we first see Enigma as Riddler in Two-Face's hideout. And funny enough, this actually has this scene actually has an actress in I never thought I'd see in this movie. Drew Barrymore of all people. She actually plays one of Two-Face's hench girls. I think Sugar to be exact.
Yep. Oh, and also another thing that I find a bit weird in that scene is, you know how they're trying to hype up, well, the Riddler's appearance in the film, right? I
Yeah,
swear,
but
if you look very carefully, you can see him waiting in the background.
Don't
Yeah.
mind me. Don't mind me. I'll just wait for the assistant producer to cue me.
Yep. Oh, and another silly moment I might point out is there's one part where where unfortunately Two-Face pretty much destroys a giant version of the box, and Batman crashes through a window, and a guy points up at the sky.
Batman! Yeah!
Oh!
I mean,
And I
seriously.
swear, he leaves one of the most goofiest, silliest faces I have ever seen. It is so damn goofy.
I mean, seriously. We're all the actors in this movie told to act over the top.
Oh, I don't know, possibly.
And don't even get me started on all the times I could have. And don't even get me started on all the fart faces that Jim Carrey made throughout the entire movie. Really, Reject? Really?
Sorry, just wanted to do it. Oh, and the last few things that I want to mention is first is the music. At least at the first few minutes of the film.
Oh yeah, the score for this movie. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this in the review, the score for this time was done by Elliot Goldenthal instead of Danny Elfman.
And for some reason, in one random part, when a guy's electrocuted or whatever, he thinks the music would be more suited for this.
Yeah, I get
Yep.
the feeling.
Yeah,
Although
and then the last silly thing I want to point out is just in one part Robin's just punching Two Face a whole bunch of times, and this one, and he's like, "This is for my mother, my father, my brother, my
my
goldfish,
goldfish, my
my dog."
dog, my uncle you never met before. I'm going to have
Oh,
small family, people. Oh yeah,
oh, and
one last thing I want to mention about the music, Reject. Interestingly, one of the special features on the movie is actually a music video for the song "A Kiss from a Rose" by Seal. And
oh.
interestingly enough, it's intercut with scenes from this movie.
Oh well, and by the way, that song you should definitely check it out. It's just wow,
Yeah,
so great.
yeah.
Oh, and also,
Plus,
actually, one last silly thing I want to mention is that at the last few minutes of the film, where where Doctor Meridian asks Edward who's Batman, and he says, "I am," but really in reality, I'll just say
Ben Affleck,
George Clooney.
dude, not yet.
Sorry.
I'm not emotionally ready for that nightmare.
Anyway, Silver, do you want to mention the last few minutes of or the
Oh yeah, of
climax of the
course.
film?
The finale of the film. Eventually after both Batman in his sonar suit, which just looks dumb, and Robin and Dick Grayson finally as Robin and now gear up, they finally make it into into the Riddler's hideout. And eventually come face to face to Two Face with our main villains. And it turns out Riddler time in for a costume change, given and now it looks like a mix between Syndrome and one of Elton John's crazy costumes. And eventually, after Riddler tries to make a Batman and unmask himself by choosing whether to say Dr. Meridian or Robin, Batman just pulls the option three solution is Riddler's device and completely manages to save both Meridian and Robin, and in the process, he once again kills another villain. This time he pulls a multiple coin trick on Two Face and causes him to slip off the edge and drop to a watery grave.
But not only that, for the third time ever in the franchise, another one of Batman's famous foes has been killed.
Yeah. Uh, well, what's a good pun to put for Two Face's demise here? Oh yeah, heads you lose.
Hmm.
And of course, as mentioned previously, it does show of the Riddler isn't dead. His mind has just been overloaded with too much information. And I'm not talking about all the porn on the internet.
Hmm.
It's he's surprisingly as well as Catwoman, he's one of the only villains to not die in the movie and not die in this series. But he is locked up in Arkham Asylum, which is the first time we actually see it.
Yeah.
Mm. And eventually, Bruce and Meridian and split and go their separate ways, and our dynamic duo runs into the camera, ending this silly, silly movie. So
Well,
that was Batman Forever, and its legacy. And I'm telling you, Its legacy isn't going to be forever, people.
Yep. Anyway, I'll give you my last final thoughts on the film. This film, to me, Batman Forever, as well, actually a little bit of, I guess, sort of history. When it first came out, people just didn't really know what to think of it. They mostly considered it to be just the strangest one of the franchise, and just plain out goofy the most goofiest of the franchise. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's a bad film, but it's not really a good film either. So to be honest with you, I give this film a 5 out of 10, just to give you an idea. Still, how well, not well, this film didn't please me at all.
Batman Forever is a very interesting movie. Not in a
Yeah,
bad, just in a very artistic, uh, artistically wrong kind of way. It tries many different things, most of them. It tries its best, and obviously after the dark tones in Batman Returns, Schumacher wanted to make a more lighthearted, kid-friendly a Batman prequel. Surprisingly, it worked on that. And also managing to feed in a few extra or adult themes that still worked in the movie. All in all, it's not the worst, but it's not the best either. So for me, Batman and Forever comes in at 7.5 out of 10. Well, 3 down, 1 to go for the original anthology.
and yes,
Next
people,
time
be prepared for tomorrow's review, which is pretty
because the
much
movie
as I like to call ice puns and ass.
aka our first movie mockery, Batman and Robin. Until next time, pray for us all, my friends.
And be prepared.